Welcome to Conversations with Mr. A. This is your host, Anthony Abastilla, counselor here at Chimacum Junior Senior High. Hello and welcome to another edition of Conversations with Mr. A. This is your host, Anthony Abastilla, counselor here at Chimacum Junior Senior High. So this week I have two very special guests with me, Dr. Kristina Mayer and Tami Robocker, and they are the chair and vice chair of the Chimacum School Board. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming and taking the time to be.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Okay, so the very first question I have, would you please tell our listeners a little bit about your backgrounds, just educational background, work backgrounds?
Educational background, I think I would mark the box some college. School was hard for me, but I made it through 2 years and got an associate's degree. I raised two kids in Chimacum. I had a family who they started kindergarten, first grade here, all the way through, both graduated from Chimacum schools. So part of the community for a long time.
So this is Kristina. I have a bachelor's degree in elementary education, a master's degree in curriculum and administration, and a doctorate in education leadership. I was a school teacher for 15 years, primarily kindergarten, and a school administrator at the elementary level. I've also worked in education philanthropy, and for 18 years had my own consulting business in nonprofit leadership and management. I came to Jefferson County in 1989 to teach second grade at Grant Street School, where I taught a second and third grade combination with a co-teacher. We had 48 students, and that was my last teaching job.
Okay, thank you. So just out of curiosity, for the both of you, how did you end up in the Chimacum, the school board? You can tell about your path.
My husband was on the school board when my kids were in school, and then he got off the board, and there was about 8 years in there where neither one of us were involved in the school, and I got asked from a couple of community members if I would run for the board position.
Well, a similar thing happened for me, and I had moved to Chimacum 8 years prior to joining the board after living in Port Townsend for many, many years. And so members had asked me, I had previously also served on the State Board of Education for 9 years, so I was well positioned to take a leadership role, and it seemed like good timing, so I was happy to do it.
Wondering, for both of you, what's your philosophy on education and student learning? Like, what are your beliefs regarding student learning? And also, how was your educational learning experience going through the school system for the both of you?
For me, I struggled in school, and the advice I would give to kids is just keep going, see what programs are out there, get involved in as much as you can, and just keep going.
I was what you would call a reluctant student until college, when I excelled all of a sudden. So if you looked at my high school transcripts, you'd think, oh my Lord, who would think that she would end up having a doctorate in education? But school was not active enough or individualized enough for me when I went through. So part of my philosophy now is that to navigate the system, it's useful if a student has some interests that they're willing to pursue and make known to the adults in their lives, so that you can immediately find your passion and keep moving through. I also think it's important that we follow. I went through college at very Jesuit schools, very strict, progressed right through. But then when it came time for my doctorate, I thought, I really want to do this for myself. So learning how to design your own learning and actually pitch it to somebody and say, hey, I'm willing to do the work, but here's what I want to learn. And still meet the learning outcomes is a really powerful tool and an exciting thing to do.
Nice. Well, I was wondering, can you name for me a few people, maybe 2-3 people that were positive influence to you, that's helped you, whether it's through school or personal lives or job, just positive influences. Anyone that comes to mind?
Positive influences for me, it was definitely my grandparents. Just really gave me a love for learning and travel and kind of opened horizons for me, and all things are possible.
I agree with Tami. My grandma was always there for me, and my parents were there too. However, they were business owners and very engaged in their work. So my grandma was somebody that I virtually called on the phone every night. But also then later on, a woman named Terry Bergeson, who was the teachers union president at one point, was a good friend of mine and just someone I could always reach out to, and our relationship has, persisted over almost 30 years.
For both of you, what are some of the most important lessons, whether it's life lessons or professional lessons, that you learned over the years?
For me, it's just keep going and listen more and talk less. So when you get told no, it might be no to that question, but figure a way around, and just keep going. Just if it's your passion, keep going.
I would agree that persistence is a positive attribute, and I would add that I actually studied this a bit in my graduate program, is that there's a lot of lessons to learn from failing at something, so not being afraid to take some risks and really put yourself out there, and if it doesn't go the way you hoped, what can you learn from the way it did go, and then see what you can make out of that.
Nice. So as members of the Chimacum School Board, for both of you, what are some of the highlights or noteworthy moments or big things that you've noted up to this point?
Big moments for me are when we made a decision and seen a change in school atmosphere, and we know that we're directly responsible for that. When I hear good feedback, running into past students that have graduated, whether it's from Central, WSU, Yale, Harvard, and then seeing them be productive. Or I ran into one of our high school graduates, and he was driving a work truck. He was happy. He had got a certificate. Things were going positive. To me, it was like, yay, that's one of our students. It's like, it's personal. It's, our students are successful.
I would say we've been busy since Tami and I came on the board at the same time. I believe it was 2019. And we have hired a superintendent and Dr. Mock that we think will really advance the district's purpose and promise to our community. And that's been exciting because, as Tami mentioned already, we're seeing a lot of positive changes in the way that people feel about working here and going to school here. And we're seeing our students excelling and teachers doing creative things. And it just kind of lights your fire and makes you want to come to the next meeting and see what we can help cook up next.
Nice. Okay. So the next few questions, let's make them a little bit fun. Let's make them a little bit fun and relaxing.
Okay.
Good ones. Good ones here. What are 2 or 3 books or movies that you would recommend to people, and why? Just some of your favorite books or movies.
The two that I keep going back to and reading are All I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, because it's back to the basics, but it has a fun spin on it and a different way of looking at things. And Randy Posh's The Last Lecture motivates, and every couple years I try to read both of them. I say once a year, but it doesn't quite get it. Just gets you back into we can do this in a right frame of mind, and there's not no, it's just how do we figure out how.
I have a favorite author, and her name is Lisa C. She's a Chinese-American woman who has written, I think I've read maybe 8 or 9 or 10 books of hers. And I just love the way she writes. And so I just will read everything. So the last book I read was called The Island of the Sea Women, and it was about women that free dive for anemone and things that are on the bottom of the sea. And it was a fascinating story. Recently, I just read a book by Geraldine Brooks called Horse. And that's a really great book about the history of horse racing in the mid-1800s, but also race relations in America. And it's a beautifully woven story that I won't give too much away because I think it's a really good book to read. I really love that book.
I'll be honest with you, I'm really curious to read all the books you listed. You got my curiosity piqued. Thank you for that. Okay, so this one, let's have some fun with this. I call it word association. So I'm gonna say 1 or 2 words, and just tell me your immediate thoughts. And these are just very random things. The first word, it's a running joke here with the students and the staff, so they know this running joke. I'm not a pickle fan, but the first word, pickles.
Sweet.
A green and Christmas ornament.
They are green, yes, they are green. Okay, hard work.
I think of work hard, play hard.
Makes it worth it.
Okay, student support.
It's out there. You just got to find it. If you're struggling and you're a student, someone's there. You just have to look.
Just ask.
Yeah.
Good. Chimacum community.
Go Cowboys.
Good food, farms, fresh air, outdoors.
Wonderful people.
I have to agree. The people in community is wonderful. So I've gotten to know them. They're really good. The salads are the best. Salad bars they are great. Learning.
Always.
Yeah. Lifelong.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Okay.
Every day.
Sports.
Sports.
I'm crazy about women's basketball.
Synchronized swimming.
I love that.
Nice. Okay. Video games.
Oh, gosh, I've never actually played one.
I lack the eye-hand coordination, and I'm not very good.
Literature.
Good books.
Good books. Warm fire.
Poetry.
Yeah.
Okay. Academic growth.
That's where we're at.
Hard work, persistence,
Okay.
small steps.
Small steps.
Take
at
the
a
little
time.
gains.
That's it.
Small steps at a time. Student engagement.
All students. Everyone engaged.
Yeah, find something that you enjoy and just jump in with both feet.
I like that a lot. Okay, just a few more questions. We're almost at the end. So for Chimacum students, any words of wisdom or advice you could give just a general Chimacum students, whether elementary, junior high, high school?
Dream big.
Dream big, go for it. And then when you graduate college, come back and put time into your community. Give back.
And then the last question I have is any final words that you'd like to say to the community, staff, anything just generally?
I'd say thank you for supporting the schools, and please come check us out, come visit. We'd love to have people visit the schools. Just make an appointment with the principal and come on in and see what we're up to.
School's the heart of the community, and I love this community, so.
I just want to say in closing, I mean, I started here in August, and it feels like, and it's just a positive, it feels like I've been here more than just less than a year. I really felt connected within the first month or two, and I mean, thank you so much
Nice.
just for having me as part of the family.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you for choosing us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And this concludes this portion of Conversations with Mr. A, featuring the Chimacum School Board members, Dr. Kristina Mayer and Tami Robocker. It was definitely a pleasure talking with these ladies. I definitely learned a lot. Like I said this was episode 3A. The next episode, Conversations with Mr. A, 3B, is going to be with Miss Taya Hall. Click on the next episode to hear it.